Okay, so today is week 4 of anim012, and today's topic is we are actually venturing into new topic today. It's an introductory lesson for rigging. Um, many of you pretty much have a good idea about what the rigging is. But I'm sure there are also some of you may not heard about it and not really sure what the rigging is about. Rigging is essentially, just to make your character or your asset, any 3D object that you create, make it functional, so you can actually make the animation or make it move. Okay, something like you just think of it as you are essentially building a system that you can actually implement into your 3D object. So make your and then you make your object deform or move or do all kind of different animation. In the production environment, no matter what, even if it's just a static object just sitting on the background, in most of case, any object that you create require some form of rigging. Okay, that is usually the production process. Even if simple cup that's going to be sitting on top of a table, it also require, even if it's just sitting there doing nothing, it actually require to have some type of a controller that allow the cup to move, to reposition. So it is essential that the rigging is the one of the crucial um, process of a 3D production. It's fairly technical, um, and sometimes maybe not be your cup of tea, or a cup of tea for many some of you who are as you guys are mostly creatively driven. In that case, the rigging can be a little bit foreign to you, because it deals with a lot of technical aspect of organizing the asset or applying the deformer, placing skeletons inside, and doing a um, um, what do you call the binding process to make your object deforming. There's a lot of different types of thing, a system that you can actually build for the your 3D object, and the rigging is pretty much the process of creating that system. Okay, so actually I posted some article that I found can be quite useful for you guys to understand the very concept of what the rigging is pretty much. As it said, the rigging is what makes deforming character possible. Okay? Process of taking static mesh, right? Creating internal digital skeletons. Creating relationship between the mesh and the skeletons. Okay? Oops. Oh, you can actually play that. My bad. And adding set of controls that the animator can use to push and pull the character around as if he is a puppeteer. Yeah, that's perfect way to putting it. So in short, rigging is a process of adding the digital string to the puppet. You can just think of it that way. Okay. So in terms of the what the rigging artists do at the production environment, it's the rigging process generally happen after the asset or 3D modeling process is completed, and then um, um, need to be sent off to the rigging department, who actually and they actually start working on building the system inside a model. Okay, and then only after the rigging process is completed, it can be handed off to the animator, and animators can actually use that system built by the rigger to create the animation, right? And because the rigging is kind of sits between modeling and the animation, it is important for the rigging artist to have a good understanding of both of what the model is delivering to them and what the animators are requires. Okay, so it's in a way the once again, its rigging is deals quite a bit about technical aspect of Maya. Um, So there are generally a lot of it's a lot of times kind of problem solving as well, right? If some systems are not working, they'll just give you error or acting weirdly, and many times the rigging artist is just kind of doing the process of fixing it or modifying it or updating or improving. And then there are some other elements that I actually putting in there. The most important is probably the parenting and hierarchy. I'm not gonna go over that. I really recommend you guys kind of read it through and have some general understanding of what the parenting or hierarchies are referring to in Maya, or the probably the constraint is also the fairly important topic within rigging. It's something that's being used quite often. We will actually have a class on once we actually get deeper into rigging side of it in this course. Okay, so you will be get to try out the constraint tools. I will be providing you the completed model, and then from there, with that, we will actually start to building up the rigging system from it. Okay. So I'm quickly diving into Maya right here. I guess the first thing that we are going to talk about today is to talk about parenting and the grouping. In many ways, parenting and group are in a way kind of similar in a way, which is almost they both are actually essentially creating a hierarchy system inside of Maya. But the way it works is in terms of that where we use it is just slightly different. So it's important for you guys to kind of have good understanding of what is parenting and what is grouping. Okay. So let me quickly make a two different polygonal primitive object first. So I'm gonna start with a sphere. Okay. And I'm just gonna place it on the side here. And I'm gonna make a cylinder. This time I'm gonna place it on here. So essentially what you're seeing is two separate objects, and you can see it clearly if you have an outliner on the side. If you don't see this outliner window, make sure you go to Windows and then click on outliner. That will open up the outliner window. Okay. Once again, outliner is the a lot of times will help you quite a bit, because this is essentially this is the window that gives you the full complete list of all the objects that's existing inside of Maya file. And as you can see, there is essentially two objects that's being created, and virtually there is no relationship between two, because there, as you can see, there is nothing that's giving you the impression that there's some type of a connection between two objects. And you're correct. We are right, because there's virtually nothing connecting between two objects. However, you can actually, the very first thing that we can actually create is we can actually create a parent and child relationship between two objects. So let's say I want to make, let's say this is my parent sphere. I'm just gonna name some arbitrary name on it. Okay, just indicate that this is the parent, and this will be child. Okay. How do we create parent relationship? Is probably that there are also a number of ways to do it. You can do it directly inside of outliner by simply click on any object that's going to be child in the hierarchy, right? Like that, select it, and then we'll drag it with the middle mouse button. Once you click on middle mouse button, you will see that your mouse cursor change, giving you the plus sign. Oops. And just kind of place it on, drag it with the middle mouse button and hold it, and just place it on top of the sphere. Oops, didn't happen. That's fine, right there. Once you actually do it, you will notice that the outliner is giving you a different tree, or branching it out. It looks like some type of branching it out thing going on. So essentially, will make this cylinder make it into child, and this sphere become the parent, right? And if you generally think about when you're talking about parent and child, usually the parent is taking the children or child to the different place. It's not like in many cases, it's just think of it that way. So whatever the parent will do, the child will follow exactly. Okay? However, whatever the child is doing, the parent will not be doing anything. So let me quickly give you the example. So if I select the parent, which will be the sphere right here, you will notice that it also selecting the cylinder, which is the child in this here, selecting as well, right? And this will allow you to move along with it. You can see that once I start to moving the parent, which is the sphere, your cylinder is follow along, right? Rotating and scaling, it's all doing exactly the same as we're supposed to do. However, if you select the cylinder and trying to do anything, it's not really follow along, right? It's pretty much moving by itself, and then your sphere is not doing anything. Okay, so that's essentially what the parent and child relationship in here. Okay, we will be using this type of a hierarchy, parent and child, to create doing a quick exercise later this class. So you will have a better understanding of what this is about. I'm sure many of you is pretty quite familiar with this concept. Okay, if you wanted to another way to let me just take it out here again. Another way to connecting by using parent is simply select child first and shift select the object that's going to be the parent. So I have two of them both selected. Go into edit and parent. Okay, what will happen is your parent is doing exactly the same thing. Okay, however, if you're doing this way, make sure you select the child, any object that's going to be the children or child first, and then shift select or anything that's going to be selected last will be the parent. Okay, so select this one child, and this one will be the parent. Shift selecting it, edit, parent. It's gonna create that parent relationship. Okay, and any of the parents do, you can make parents can have multiple offspring or kids, right? So that means if I actually duplicate that and make a bunch of them, let's say I'm gonna make you can make an infinite 6 cylinder, and I want to make all of them into children of the sphere. You can simply select all of that, and then shift select your sphere, which is going to the parent last, going to edit and parent, or you can simply press P on the keyboard. Okay, so you'll notice there on your outliner, you can see that this now have the new branching line, and everything is on the same level here, right? So once you select that, it's gonna move itself, but if you select as this one, it's not doing anything. You can also make a multiple levels of parenting, right? Let's say I want to have this will be my the child this one will be a child to this sphere, but I want to have this all rest of the cylinder to become the child of this cylinder here. Obviously, we can select this 5 and drag it right here like this. So if I open it up here, you notice that now you have the all 5 as children to this cylinder, who is going to be the parent to this one, or the rest of the cylinder. And however, this cylinder is actually child to this sphere. Okay, and you can make an infinite level of the parent and child hierarchy inside of Maya. Okay. Now that should be enough for the parent. You can also unparent that too, right? Simply select this like this, and let's say you don't want this to be children anymore. You can simply select any object that you want to be out of the hierarchy. Simply select them and then go into edit and unparent. Okay, or shift P as in shortcut. Another way to do it is simply drag it in the outliner. Simply select the object and drag it with the middle mouse button and just place it on somewhere on the top like here. Now you can see that the objects are taken out from the existing hierarchy system. Okay. Now we are back to our previous two objects now. Let's say we want to do a grouping. The grouping is simply, just think of it this way. The group in grouping node or group inside of Maya is almost work like an empty container. So there is no shape existing for the group node. So it's essentially pretty much empty, invisible container that can be only kind of visible on the outliner. Just think. So let's do this. So let's say you want to make this have this one, make it into one group. Probably easiest way to do it is select both of the objects. The order doesn't really matter which one that you select first. Okay, simply select both of any object that you want to create a single container of a group, and then go to edit, and then click on group. Okay, once you do it, you can see that now if you click on plus sign, now you have a group 1, which is the container is being created, and within that container you have two objects that's sitting inside of it. Okay, so if you actually select a sphere, it's not going to do anything. It's going to do by itself, and also along with the cylinder as well. But if you actually select the group node like that, it's actually selecting both of them, because this group node essentially containing both objects. So you can also think of it this way. This group 1 become the parent to these two objects. It's kind of same thing in terms of if you're looking at the hierarchy, how the hierarchy is being done. But instead of we are actually using actual object or 3D mesh as a parent, this group is essentially creating a just empty or invisible node that you can actually manipulate or moving around. So if you click on and select the group 1 from the outliner, you can actually move both of them together like this. Okay. One thing that you guys should be aware is, let me ungroup it again. Oops. You can so whenever you create a new group, for example, I'm selecting again and Control G. That's a shortcut for creating a new group node, right? Whenever you create a new group, this new group node normally always go to the center of the world space. Okay, that's something that you guys should be aware. Okay, so and as you can see, you can just moving it however you want it. Okay, so that's essentially what the group and what the parent is about, pretty much. Okay, any question? Anything that you're not sure about? Want me to kind of go over again? Do let me know, guys. It's a fairly basic concept, but it's also fairly important as well. So I really want you guys to have a good understanding of the difference between group and the parent, and when we will talk about when to use it. So okay.